Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Hope you guys having a good week. Appreciate you guys for tuning back in today to my show. If you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. Also, really appreciate if you guys hit that like button for me on the way in. It really helped me fight the algorithms and promote my channel more, promote this video more. So please hit the like button for me if you're new here. Subscribe and leave a comment and reaction to today's video. Excited for today's video and today's episode, rather. I'm going to break down meditations and kind of get into that at the beginning and break down meditations, what they did for me, some of the ones I used. Play a quick video from man Dennis Simsek, the anxiety guy. Go subscribe to him. I'm going to play a quick video from him on meditation to give you a little more in-depth analysis. And then I'm going to break down the comments by Gilbert Arenas, former NBA player, on VladTV recently. This is what I'm really excited to talk about because I could really relate to Gilbert's comments in a way. When Gilbert talked about when he retired, he had $100 million in the bank, and he was miserable for a whole year. He's miserable and just didn't know what to do with himself because for 22 years of his life, all he knew was basketball every single day. And all of a sudden it just stopped. He retired and he didn't know what to do. And it reminds me of, listen to my last episode where I talked about when I was 15 and kind of when I went through that and I had to leave school abruptly because of my anxiety disorder. A lot of what caused my depression was that I was at home by myself every day. For every day for my whole life, I went to school. I was around people. I played ball. All I knew was one thing every single day, and it kind of was my, I had a purpose in what I did every day. And all of a sudden, then boom, it all goes away, and I kind of had to find out who I really was again, and kind of just, but that's really what and find what my purpose was. Ultimately what led to me to where I am now, but also just even now I'm working through what I talked about in my last episode. When you work away from anxiety, post anxiety, you kind of get into a depression or a gray area where you kind of have to refigure out who you are, what your true purpose is, what are the things that really inspires your soul, what are the things your soul desires to do, what are the things you really want to do in your life that you put off for so long because of anxiety and fear. And so I'm gonna get into that, but first I'm gonna start off with meditations. So let's get to it. So meditations. What did meditations do for me? Well, number one, the meditations I used are from the Anxiety Guys page. Those are the ones I use. I wrote down 3 of them. I'm gonna break down each one. So the first one I use is letting go surrender session. It's a surrender meditation. It's a surrender session, letting go meditation, all in one. I'm gonna link these 3 I named down below. And so, the letting go meditation for me is the one I've used the most recently, and that one really helped me because you close your eyes, you lay down, and basically what it is, whatever feeling you have that in the moments of anxiety, those moments of fear, the moments that if you have anticipation anxiety about something, if a certain situation you're in, something makes you feel anxious, right? That feeling for me, it's like the gut feeling, the nervous system, my stomach, and like tension in my neck. Those are the ones that bother me. And so I would sit and surrender to that one, to that feeling. And as you're doing the surrender meditation, he's talking to you in your ear and he's just telling you you're letting go. And what you're doing is you're accepting the feeling. You're not adding to it. You're not defining it. You're not trying to look for a meaning for it, what it is. You just allow it. You just accept it for what it is. You just let it go. And that's all it is. And the more I've done that, the more I've practiced trust with myself and my body and safety. And that was my biggest thing, was safety. But I found what my root cause was. And meditation can't solve your root cause, but it can help you find the root cause. And it helped me find many root causes for many things. And safety was one of them. And so if I get in a situation or a moment where I feel anxious, stressed out, I can just go turn this meditation on, the surrender session, just lay down, close my eyes, take a deep breath, and just let go, right? And just surrender. And the more I've done that, it becomes more of like a practice, like a conditioning, to where, when I get moments where I have anxiety, where I have fear, I could be in the car, I could be somewhere, I could be in an environment, I could be amongst people, I could be at home by myself. I get that feeling, I just surrender. And it's almost, I don't need the meditation. I use the meditation daily, but if It's like a, you know what I mean? It's like a tool you can add almost to your arsenal. You almost like you condition your mind to accept whatever you feel throughout the day and trust and believe that it's what the doctor said it is. It's what everyone around you said it is, what you know it is. You just surrender to it and you just let it go. Right. And so that's number one for me. Probably my favorite one out of all of them. The one I've used the most recently is the letting go surrender. The second one I use is similar to that in the way, but it's more of, it's called mapping meditation. Now, mapping meditation, what that is let's say you're in a moment, if you're got morning anxiety, you got insomnia, you can't go to sleep, you're nervous about something, you're really stressed out, really frantic in the moment, you're worried about a symptom you have, and you're getting this is really good for health anxiety, especially. Um, Mapping meditation is you lay down just like all of them. You close your eyes, find a safe for all these meditations. Always find a safe, quiet room where you won't be bothered, distracted. Put on your headphones and just lay down. And you could sit up too, but I think laying down is better because it kind of when you lay down, it's like laying down. You're laying down all the stress and you're surrendering. Surrender is so key. And so, what mapping meditation is, you turn it on. He's in your ear, and you lay there. And let's say you have a feeling you're worried about symptoms. You maybe have multiple symptoms in your body because that's really what keeps a lot of anxiety sufferers amped up is the symptoms, right? We're so caught up in our symptoms sometimes and how we feel, the feelings and the emotions that we kind of get too frantic about. We play tug of war with it, which makes it worse. And we kind of just stay stuck in that loop. It's like a hamster running on a wheel. And so, in order to get out of that, mapping meditation is great. And so, basically, what he does, you'll close your eyes and he'll go, this is a great tool to carry with you. I'm closing my eyes too. And so, he'll go, all right, let's start with your forehead. We'll start with your face. What's the feeling in your face? Feel the feeling in your face right now. And then he'll tell you, tell yourself, it isn't good or bad. It just is. Right. And then you go from your eyelids to your face, to your neck, to your shoulders, to your arms, to your stomach, all the way down to your feet. And when you get down your feet, and then he does it twice. But what you do is you go to each body part. It's almost like you're examining your body and you're building trust with each part of your body. And this is great for health anxiety, especially because if you're really in a frantic moment right now, you maybe like it's morning anxiety, insomnia, and you just kind of accept and you just say it isn't good or bad. Whatever the feeling is, could be anything in you, a pain, whatever. You just accept it for what it is. It's not good or bad. It just is. It's life. And it's again, it's almost like it's another form of kind of surrender. It's like the surrender session, the one I mentioned, the first one. You're just letting go. And so mapping meditation's great for calming down and just accepting however your body's feeling. If you're sick, it's really good as well. You know, some people when they get sick or they have aches, they think something's wrong, hypochondriacs. You know, mapping meditation's great. It's a great one to use, and it's great for people. It's great for people who are initially, if you just got diagnosed with anxiety and you're kind of scrambling a lot still, you feel like you're kind of on edge a lot still about a lot of things. Mapping meditation's a great one to start with, and just to kind of really build that trust. Again, keyword trust with your body, and so that's my second favorite one. You can also health anxiety affirmations are great too, kind of similar. Those are great, but I think for beginners out there, go with mapping meditation to start off to build that trust. Surrender as the first two I would use. That's why I put them 1 and 2. And then once you get to that, once you start to surrender more, you start to let go more, you start to find more root causes, maybe, right? You start to get more feelings. And this happened with me. For me, it was safety. But then once I got done with safety, I found out once I got past that layer of safety and my root causes, I figured out what my real root cause was from the last 8 years. Grievance. I had a lot of grief in my life. People that died that were close to me. There were important parts of people in my life. People that moved out of my life, moved away. You know, just a lot of grievance and a lot of things happened to me growing up. Just a lot of grievance. Times where I felt, uh, um, not safe or just unsettled a lot in my life. And so, luckily, though, for me in the last year doing this podcast and reaching out more in community and having more community in my life and just communication with people and doing this, like I said, this podcast also has helped tremendously, but also just most importantly, connecting more with the Lord, most of all, and connecting with Him more. and growing my relationship with Christ more deeper each and every day. That's helped out a lot with the grievance. That God's helped shown me that a lot of my grievance too came from desires. You know, things I wanted to do I can't do because time, but also there's things still haven't had in my life. The grievance, a lot of my grievance was a feeling of left behind. I felt left behind, right? So at 15, and this is going to go good with Gilbert's thing later. When I immediately stopped and as time went on, the years went on, I started to feel left behind. I felt like people forgot about me. I felt like nobody cared. I started to internalize things the wrong way. I started getting angry. I just started to feel left behind, which is very normal, rational for somebody kind of agoraphobic or whatever you're going through. You could be in a relationship, and so you got left behind. I've seen that many times. Left behind could be like my situation, for instance. I was, like I said, I just kind of got put in a situation. I mentioned my last episode where I was stuck at my home for months and I couldn't leave, and there was a time I couldn't leave my house a block for a year. But again, as time went on, I saw the world passing by me. I started to feel left behind, and I started to wonder, like, man, I missed out on everything. Or even recently, guys, until I started doing the inner circle program back in beginning towards the end of winter, beginning of spring. But before that, the middle of winter, I had some feelings too, where I was just kind of like getting down about some things, like things I'm still hopeful for in my life to one day have, and just kind of like, man, this is ever going to happen. Should I still pursue this God? Is there anything there? You start, this is all for nothing, and you start to get down and just put false, you know, false, stories in your head of what's actually going on. It's not true what I was thinking. You just get down and discouraged, which puts distorted information in your mind. And a lot of it, though, for me, tied back to the grievance and the left behind feeling I had all those years, and just all the way back when I was a kid. And so, but back to the meditation, once I've learned to surrender, which helped with safety and trust, I tapped in more into the grievance. And what helps with grievance, this is actually what I'm going to be doing more of. That I'm in that reconditioning phase I talked about last week, is gray room meditation. And what gray room meditation is, this is the third one I wrote down. This is the first one I actually did out of all three of these, and I love this one. It's very calming, very empowering, to be honest with you. The gray room meditation. So what it is, I'm gonna close my eyes, act like I'm doing it. You close your eyes, and you walk into this gray room, right? You imagine you're in a gray room, and he tells you look to your left, and on the wall to your left, there's 3 post-it notes, and in the middle of the room, there's a fire pit, a fire burning. And there's another wall on the right with 3 more post-it notes. So you walk up, you notice the fire, you settle in. And so the wall you're left, what are 3 things you want to get rid of in your life? Things you're holding on to, past traumas, past memories, habits, symptoms, anything that holds you back, that causes your anxiety or causes that feeling of grievance for me, for instance. So for me, I would say, okay, grab that post-it note and I would imagine in my head, I'm writing down the first one. Experience how I felt post 15 years old experience, right? So the grievance, I would just basically write down grievance. I would take that and I would throw it into the fire and watch it burn. Then I'll go to the next one. Okay, now maybe let's do a symptom now. I'm giving you guys some examples. And some of mine are the ones I've used. Tension in my neck. Crumble it up, throw it in the fire, watch it burn. Now it's gone. See, it's gone. Now I go to the last one. Grab the post-it note. What could I write? Experience when I was 11 years old at football practice. Crumble it up, throw it in the fire, watch it burn. It's gone. It has nothing to do with my life anymore. I've made peace with it. I let it go. It could be anger you're holding on to. I could write down anger towards someone, right? And be specific. Throw it in the fire and let it go. Now we close our eyes again, right? Close my eyes, walk to the other side of the room. There's 3 more post-it notes now on the wall. The first one, now this side is, what are the lessons you want to hold on to help you moving forward? So I can grab the first one and say, lesson I learned: have more grace and compassion towards people and yourself. And act like I folded up, put it in my back pocket, and I walk out of not walk out yet. Hold on. I walk up to the next post-it note. But I take that first one, I write that down. So again, have compassion and grace towards myself and others. I fold that up, put it in my back pocket, and I go to the next one. Next one could be, I am safe. Fold that up and healthy. I am safe and healthy. Fold that up, put it in my back pocket, go to the next one. What could be this one? Well, here's a good one for you. I use spiritual. God's timing is perfect. That's a lesson I've learned. God's timing is perfect. Fold that up and trust his timing. Put it in your back pocket. Now, as you put the 3 post-it notes, the lessons you're going to take, as you walk out of the room, you look back and you say, okay, I did something good. You feel empowered. You're carrying something good with you. You're carrying those lessons with you. And then you walk out of the room. And then that's it. It's almost like you're taking that empowerment, those lessons you learned in the meditation, and you're carrying it with you throughout the day. But the more you start to do this meditation over time, the more you start to carry those lessons, the more you start to act upon them. And it starts to become who you are. It's part of the reconditioning, right? And it's a great way to, gray room therapy is a gray room meditation is a great way to get rid of baggage, but also gain more clarity, have more compassion amongst yourself. Powerful, very self-empowering meditation. And so all 3 of those have really helped me a lot. I think all 3 kind of work together in a way. I think the first 2 are the ones I would do first. Mapping. I would go mapping, and then I would go surrender, and then I would go gray room. I think that's a good order for those 3. And do them week by week. So start off week 1, do mapping. Week 2, go to surrender. Week 3, go to gray room. And then you can extend that more based on what you need. I think those are the 3 that I use, the 3 that really helped me the most. And now there's many more on there. Like I said, he has health anxiety affirmation ones. He's got so many different, there's so many meditations out there you can use, other people's as well. Find what works for you in the moment. But the 3 that I listed today, I think will really help you in multiple ways. It will help you find to, number 1, calm down, but also because meditation is great for calming down in the moment, but also building trust in your body amongst yourself, building your self-esteem and confidence more, finding the real root causes of what's causing your anxiety, gaining more clarity about those things, um, building more trust within your body and the symptoms, and letting go of the symptoms, not getting so caught up in the moment and helping yourself be more present, like in a good way, not getting caught up in the moment in terms of fear, or looking too far ahead, looking in the past, just being present and looking what you can do today. So meditate, those 3 I named, the meditations in general are just great for that. And so um just great for many different things. Great for just simplifying your life, really, and giving you more clarity. And so and like I said, they've helped me out in many different ways. And um like for instance, like I said, it helped me find that grievance and find that impatience about certain things in my life. And so it's kind of like the story in the Bible, Noah, where Noah was living in a society that was very promiscuous. People were out doing, things they shouldn't have been doing. And, God gave him a task though. Noah was the only one that was being obedient to God. And so God gave him one of the biggest tasks in the history of mankind, and to build the ark to save those who were, trusting God. God was going to bring a flood. And so, but it took Noah 120 years in time though, to wait. And so imagine 120 years, Noah was waiting for a lot of things to happen. And I'm sure in that time period, he was getting impatient, and he was getting kind of in a way where he was kind of like, God, I'm tired of chopping down these trees. I'm tired of, everybody else is doing what they want to do, and I'm doing this, but I'm committed to you, Lord. I'm committed to you. I'm committed to you. Right. It's the same thing. Like, it's surrendering. It's letting go. And these meditations help you spiritually as well. They've helped me tremendously in my spiritual life. And so, it's like Noah, though, like letting go and surrendering, trusting, building that trust, and understanding that God's timing is perfect. And once you learn God's timing, how important time is to God, you don't get caught up in what everybody else, a lot of people are getting caught up in. It's like I posted the other day on my Instagram, I put in the caption on a picture, satisfy the soul, not the society. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are satisfying the society and not satisfying their soul. And they're rushing into things. They're doing things that probably aren't good for them, wasn't really meant for them. And you're going to see a lot of consequences by the time I'm 23. So by the time a lot of people my age get to 30, you're going to see a lot of consequences due to impatience and falling into the culture, not listening to what God wanted them to do. But reading the story of Noah really shows that, and how Noah did something miraculous, and it's like I heard the story that yesterday, Tony Evans I was listening to, and he talked about how when God starts to get weird on you, you start to get a little impatient, when you feel like giving up, you start things just seem weird. And I've had this in my life, especially in the last year. Things just seem kind of weird, and you're kind of like, I don't know, God. I don't just kind of you just want to give up, move on, go to something else. But when God starts to do something weird in your life, he starts to seem weird to you, what's going on, he's about to do something miraculous in your life. But again, that takes faith and trust. And meditations really help with trust and letting go and faith, especially spiritually. And they've helped me a lot too. And so I'm going to play this video real quick from my man, Dennis, the anxiety guy, about meditations. He's going to break down more analysis, give it a little more examples. It's a quick 7-minute video. And then I'm going to finish up with meditations. I'm going to get right into the Gilbert comments, and then I'll wrap this up. So I'm going to get into this meditation video from man Dennis Simsek, the anxiety guy. Go subscribe to man Dennis Simsek, the anxiety guy. Highly recommend. And yeah, I'm going to get to this video. Maybe.
Warriors, welcome. My friends, there's a lot of people out there that are very interested in meditation, but don't necessarily know what they're getting into or why they're getting into it. Meditation is for clarity purposes, okay? When you meditate with some kind of an intention, you are gaining clarity around what it is you want to know more of. And so meditation, yes, calms the nerve, which is a very attractive thing for anxiety sufferers. Anxiety sufferers want nothing more than to feel like they're calmer, right? And meditation can give you that. Meditation many times doesn't get to the root cause of your anxiety, but rather meditation reveals the root causes of your anxiety. This is why this sort of mindset is very, very important as you embark on your meditation journey. Now, there are different ways to meditate, okay? Let's get into some of the simplest ones because I'm a big believer in simplicity. I believe that when meditation came from the East to the West, they're just making it way too complicated and sophisticated, when in fact the best forms of meditation are normally the simplest ones, okay? So one way you can meditate is simply focusing on 4 seconds inhale through your nose and 4 seconds exhaling through your nose again. So 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. Now, you want to repeat this rhythm consistently until you feel like you no longer need to, until you feel like it has been automated, okay? And this is very, very simple, and everybody's going, well, is it going to work for me? Is it actually beneficial? It's very, very beneficial because with anxiety, what tends to happen is we feel led towards focusing on 100 different things at once, right? And calming the nerves and gaining clarity over something demands that we focus on one thing. The better we get at focusing on one thing, the less anxiety we're going to have. So that's one way to go about meditation. Another one is try to find 2 words and repeat them as a mantra every time you inhale and exhale. For example, I'm just going to pick one word, okay? And I'm going to pick the word calmness, okay? So I would go calmness. Calmness. If there's something that's bothering you, you can use the words let go. Let go. Now, you don't want to be saying these out loud. You want to say them in your mind mentally, because You want to focus more so on the cooperation between the breath and the mantra. Okay, so let go with your eyes closed, continuing that rhythm for as long as you want to. You know, when I started to get into meditation, it was very difficult for me to do 10, 15, 20 minutes of meditation. So what I did was I simplified it. I did 1 minute 3 times a day. And a lot of people are saying, well, you're not going to benefit much from that, right? But the truth is that, oh my goodness, I benefited so much from doing 1 minute meditation in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening, because I was no longer going through this robotic state of consciousness anymore. I was finally, after that meditation, realizing things I would never realize before, certain pattern recognitions that led me towards anxiety. So if you're new to meditation, you may want to take on that approach, okay? Finally, my favorite, actually, number one, favorite type of meditation would be color breathing meditation, where, and everybody's got a different color, a different association to their colors. For me, green is like that physical healing color. Blue is more so this relaxation color, okay? And blacks or reds have a lot to do with trauma, okay? If you ask a child to draw some past experience that they didn't like experiencing, more often than not, they're going to grab blacks and reds in terms of colors, and they'll paint those pictures. So color breathing meditation goes, breathe in for, again, 4 seconds. Let's say the color green. Move it to a part of your body where you're holding some tension, and breathe out the color black or red or whatever color connects to that nervousness or anxiousness. And you repeat this. Green in, black out. And again, you repeat this for as long as you want. You're going to find that with meditation, you feel like you're starting to lose yourself a little bit, even losing touch with your body. And this can scare a lot of people. But the truth is that you are tapping into a brainwave state known as alpha or theta, which gives you access to the subconscious mind. You are literally telling your inner child that this world is a safe place. The more you give in to that feeling of letting go, right? Letting go of body, letting go of analyzing, letting go of overly focusing on something. Okay, so those are 3 very powerful meditations that you can start using today, my friends. But I want to know a bit more about you. Are you just getting into meditation? Are you an expert, a veteran at it? Do you have any types of meditation that work for you? Comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, you are more than anxiety. I love you.
Great video again from my man Dennis Simsek, the anxiety guy. Always great stuff there. Yeah, and a lot of what he said there about the meditation is a lot of what I was saying. It's just the simplicity of it. Love what he talked about the color breathing. I use that a lot. The letting go one, where he just says, "Let go." I use that one a lot. I love that one. That one helped me out tremendously. Same with the color breathing. These are all just great toolkits as well to help you. You know, the more toolkit you have in your arsenal, the more you have against the anxiety, and the more you apply and simplify, like you said, the more the easier things get. And when things get easier, it starts to make more sense. You start to tap into a lot of things more. You start to, you know, let go. You start to find out more about yourself and who you are and who you really want to be, and just kind of rediscover yourself. And you kind of detach from the anxiety. But when you detach from the anxiety, you're detached from anything in life to something new or something happens, you start to feel change. You kind of wonder what your purpose is. And that's why I want to play this Gilbert Arenas video real quick because, or audio rather. I can't play the video, but I'm gonna play this audio by Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert talks about how, like I said, when he retired from the NBA, his first year, he had $100 million in the bank. He had all this stuff, but he was miserable because he didn't know what to do with himself. He was bored. And wait till you hear wait till you guys hear what Gilbert said he did the first year to kill time from boredom. Because it kind of reminds me what I did for a while on the bike when I mentioned last week about how I'll go ride certain routes every day. Right now, I'll go ride certain routes every day to kind of what I was doing was just trying to kill time. But go and ride my bike at midnight, like I said, in 2 feet of snow and negative 30-degree temperatures, right? A lot of what I was doing in the past was because there was a void. There was a void and there was a feeling I was trying to get rid of. And so I would try to do things to distract myself. And now, again, the bike, like I said, the biking helped me. The more I pushed myself, it kind of created a good attitude in me to fight back against the anxiety for once and for all. But I didn't realize a lot of what I was doing for so long. And one of the reasons why I was so depressed and down when all this happened to me at 15 years old, when all that happened to me, was because my whole life just changed. I went from being around people every day. I went from hanging out with friends every day, playing ball, going to practice, going to school for my whole life. And all of a sudden, one day it just stops. And I'm sitting at home by myself, just staring at the walls, not knowing what to do with my life at 15 years old, not knowing what my purpose is now. What am I going to do with my life? And wondering if I'll ever get back to normal again. And so I'm going to play this video by Gilbert Arenas, this audio. I keep saying video because I can't play the video because of copyright reasons, but it's on DJ Vlad. On VladTV, and I'm gonna play the audio where Gilbert talks about it. Now it's really raw, so there's some language in here, so be aware. But this is the real. So, but again, I like anytime an athlete or somebody who has a platform comes out and speaks really raw like this and what they went through. I really appreciate it because I didn't know about this till my man Kwame Brown reacted to it, and Kwame talked about it too. He went through it. How from there's like those time periods. NBA players, they're so used to playing games from 7 to 10 or 8 to 11 at night that Kwame said there was a lot of nights after, playing ball, he would be up all night. He just couldn't sleep. So he would start to go work out between those time periods. He would work out before he go to bed. And that would help him start to go to sleep more because he felt like he was filling that kind of void where his body was so trained and conditioned to play ball and to be ready to play ball and exert himself at a certain time of the day. But then it stopped. So he had to figure out how to fill that time. And I had to figure that out too over time. And going through it now, post anxiety, who do I really want to be? What does my soul desire to do? And what are the things that I held off for years because of anxiety? But also could be another way where you have change, like I did, like Gilbert did, to where like Kwame did. You're kind of like, what do I do with my time? Who am I now? You kind of have to it's all about rediscovering yourself and who you really want to be and what God wants you to do most importantly. But through that, you find what your calling is. What's my purpose? And so I'm gonna play this audio. It's an 8-minute audio, and then I'm gonna give a little reaction to it, and we'll get out of here. So yeah, we get to this. Just give me 1 second to set this up. All right. So again, this is audio from Gilbert Arenas' interview on Vlad TV. I'll link it below. And yeah, pay attention. This is some great stuff here from Gilbert. Really raw, and see if you can relate as well.
So you were how old when you retired?
32, I think.
32. Okay. So at 32, you retired from your career, essentially, and you were rich at the time. You were worth over 100 million at that point. What does a retiree, a 32-year-old retiree who's worth $100 million spend their days over the next year or two?
Trying to find out who the fuck he is.
Hmm.
Miserable.
Really? You were miserable?
Yeah.
Huh. I did not expect this answer. Okay.
Because, like any athlete, right? From the ages of 6, 7 years old, all we knew was one thing: hoop.
Yeah.
Hoop school, right? Hoop summer, hoop play, right? Hoop.
Okay, so you were how old when you started playing? 6?
I started at 10.
At 10, yeah, you were a little bit later.
Yeah, I was later.
So from 10 years old, but you were nonstop.
Yeah, so 10 to 32, nonstop. All
22
I knew
years.
was basketball, right?
Yes.
That's all I knew. Regimen, wake up, ball, sleep, wake up,
Yeah.
ball, sleep, wake up, ball, eat. Like, that was it,
Yeah.
right? You know, my career, right? You know, I'm not partying as much during the season because that's the weird thing about NBA players that, you know, they work their asses off during the summer, and then in the season starts, they want to party more because they get to go to every city, which is stupid, right? It's supposed to be the other way around. Focus during the season, party in the summer. So, you know, I handicap, you know, don't use phones, don't party as much, go to 2-3 cities, don't drink, you know, like there's things that I put. So when I'm done and say, all right, Gilbert, have fun, enjoy life. All right, cool. A week goes by, you know, the summer goes by, and then what ends up happening is this is what happens to every athlete. The season changes. Their season, right? I can smell when the season's starting. Getting a little colder, you know, that September smell is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening is my body naturally goes into get ready for the season mode.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, there's no fucking season.
Yeah.
But for the last fucking years of my life,
22 years.
my body,
two-thirds of your life.
my body has been programmed. 5:30, wake up, right? Train, go to sleep, eat lunch, train, wake up, boom, train. So now when training camp starts, because every athlete, they're going to get antsy. They're going to start doing a lot of this when the season's getting ready to start. And now there's no season. So what happens? You're sitting there like, what the fuck do I do with this time? All right, I woke up at 5:30. All right, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. Okay. And so what I did when I first, you know, retired, I had to try to figure out how to be busy between 9 o'clock and 12. And then it's lunchtime, then I go to sleep. And then about 5 o'clock to like 8, be busy again. So what I caught myself doing, not even noticing, not even really understanding it. I'm driving from Calabasas all the way to downtown.
Just to kill time.
Just to kill time. In traffic, just listen to music, got a fucking playlist. Trying to, like, you know how like it's like, all right, take this route for shorter. I'm taking the longest route. Right? Just driving to downtown, driving back. By the time I get back, it's noon. Fucking lunchtime. Go get some lunch. Throw up my TV, pass out, wake up, do it again. I spent a year driving in traffic.
Wow.
Like I'll buy a new car and I got like fucking 30,000 miles on it in a year because I'm just fucking in traffic the whole time. Just having fucking fun. Just do this.
Okay. Well, but you retired because of your injuries, right?
Yeah.
But you could have played overseas, right?
Could have.
Clearly, there was teams in the world that would take you.
Yeah, like I was getting injured, and you know I was trying out getting injured, and my body just wasn't responding. You know,
At
so
32, huh?
Yeah, so I just let it go, and then letting it go is like
You can't come back.
no hobby. Right, I wasn't a golfer. You know, so most guys they sit on the golf course as long as possible. That's why a lot of guys go to TNT. They want to hurry up and get back into it because what do we know? We haven't had a regular life.
But what about, okay, I
We
get
haven't
that
had a
part.
regular
I
life.
get that part, right? But you're sitting on $100 million.
Okay, where do I spend it from 10 a.m. to 4? I'm going to fucking mall? I mean, how many malls can we go to with no one there?
No, listen. It's okay.
That's what I said. In hindsight,
I got it. Listen. As someone, listen, I didn't have 100 million, but you know, I sit on millions. So it's always interesting. For example, like, you know, because I was broke the majority of my life, you know, or struggling, or you know, trying to get to somewhere, and you know, you always like, oh man, I wish I could buy that car. I wish I could buy that Louis jacket. I wish I could. And then you get to this point where you know, like I have a Mercedes dealership down the street from my house. I remember going by the dealership, walking around going like, I could buy any of these cars. And I don't want any of them.
Don't want any of them.
And then going to the Louis store going like, I could buy any item in the store. I don't like anything here. So
And
it's a weird, like, you know what I'm saying? And this is not me talking down on people. This is just the reality of once you hit certain financial levels. It's like all this stuff that you've dreamed about having all these years, when you suddenly can have it, you're like,
once you've done it, now let's take away your job.
yeah.
Now let's take away your outlet, what you do to be able to be like, hey, I'm good. No matter how much money you have, if you don't have it, that's why when you hear someone, they'll be like, yeah, my parents still work. My dad just loves to go to work. That's what's keeping him alive.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Same thing.
Absolutely. You have to have a purpose. You're right. You take that purpose away. If you tell me, because you know, I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, listen, I'm going to turn 50 next month, and it's like, do I still love what I do? Now, not all parts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like, you know, I've had to install managers in my, you know, company because there's certain parts of managing 20 employees that I just can't, you know, I just don't enjoy anymore and so forth. And like, would I do every interview? Like, if let's just say I sold my company for 100 million, would I do every interview I'm doing now? No, absolutely. But if I had a chance, you know, like when I did the Smokey Robinson interview, would I have done that for free? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Smokey Robinson,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Shaka Khan. Like when I look at some of the, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I recently did, it's like, yo, some of these, it's like to be able to sit down with this really accomplished person and to be able to ask them whatever you want for 2 hours is dope. Like I get so excited for these kind of interviews. But would I do every interview, like with every regular guest and everything? No, probably not.
Now, what if we take that from you? Right? We take it from you.
You cannot interview anyone else,
and then you can't interview no one else.
Yeah.
First week, 2 weeks, you're like, yeah. And then after, when everything settles, and you're sitting there like,
fuck.
Now all these people are calling. Like now the people, your guest list that you've always wanted starts calling. You can't do it.
Yeah. Eminem wants to do an interview,
right?
Can't
now
do it.
you're seeing. So when basketball season starts, it's nerve-wracking for players who retire.
So this goes like everyone that you know goes through this. Really?
It's the purpose. What is my purpose now? Right? Why do you think the divorce rate is so high on athletes when the first 4 years? Because
really? I didn't know
the first 4 years, that athlete is now have to be something he's never been before. Now he has to see the kids and the wife has adapted to him in his career. When that career is over with, he has to adapt to them in their time. He don't know what that is.
Wow. So some really interesting stuff there from Gilbert Arenas. That's why I wanted to share that. Yeah, really interesting stuff. And, you know, a lot of what he said there, I can fully relate to. Like I said, when I went through that when I was 15 years old, you know, I remember sitting in that house going like, man, what do I do with my life now? Like, where am I going to go from here? That's what it was. I was like, where am I going from here? When I moved over to my house now, like I said, mentioned in my last episode, when I had changed when I was 18, I moved. My dog had just passed, man, my childhood dog. I had a lot of change going on. And I could leave my house for a year. I was kind of like, what do I do with myself now? And I started to really question, like, getting depressed, got in a deep depression, like, you know, like, who do I want to be with my life? You know, am I ever going to get out of this even? I question, would I ever get out of where I am? Would I ever get back to some sense of normalcy again? Would I ever be able to have the opportunities even to just pursue my dreams and things I desired? And now I have obviously a lot of things. There's still some things in my life I'm still striving for, but I think once you find your purpose with God and you start to allow Him to be more patient with yourself and have grace upon yourself and compassion, but also, like I talked about earlier, but also understanding that just because you don't have something right now doesn't mean you're not complete. Just because something's missing in your life or something feels missing in your life, you know, like for me, a lot of my grievances actually is from over the years was from, you know, when I was in my depression, going through the anxiety really bad, even up to recently until I started the program, was because I was going through this in the winter, you know, and sometimes we have human moments, guys. For us, for a lot, you know, you can overcome anxiety, but that's just the beginning stage. You know, for the rest of our lives, we're always going to have challenges and difficulties we have to work through. because you never know what's going to happen in life. You can't predict what's going to happen on the outside that can affect us eternally, that could challenge us. One day I'm going to be in a relationship and get married. One day I'm going to be a father. One day I'm going to maybe have a different career. One day maybe this podcast will be on a bigger platform. I mean, there's so many things. You just never know where life's going to go. And so it's very important to understand how to, so I mentioned those meditations earlier today, how to surrender, but also you're trying to build tools for yourself for the rest of your life. It's better to suffer now, suffer deliberately rather than wait. Suffer deliberately now rather than suffer, where it just happens by accident and you're kind of thrown off, which makes it worse a lot of times for people. Suffer deliberately, go towards things and try to and overcome them. You will overcome them, because if you suffer deliberately now, you live the rest of your life more in peace. But also, you condition yourself how to respond to certain things. You no longer react to things a certain way. You don't react; you respond to things, and it's a great way to rebuild yourself. And you find out who you really want to be, what you want to do with your life. You find your real purpose God has for you. And I started to find that along the way. The more I started to surrender it to Him and just say, God, I really want this right now. I really wish I had certain things in my life right now. There was times, guys, where I felt like I was the only one that. I feel like everybody around me had certain things. Literally everyone. I did never had it yet, and I still feel like that even up until recently. And it's something I had to still continue to have to work through. But I know that once really I started to understand more and dive deeper into why timing is important for God. In that, like for me, for instance, in my situation, God had to, once as the years went by, would help me. Once I understood that God chose me for a bigger reason, because, for instance, my sister's birthday's coming up this Monday. Happy birthday, Julia. Love you. And the generational anxiety in my family stopped with me, because if it didn't stop with me, it would have went to her, and I would have really. It would have been bad for her if she had to go through some of the things I had to go through, especially as a young teenage girl. And she still goes through some things, normal growth trials every kid goes through, but she doesn't go through a lot of the same things I went through, and I'm glad about that. I'm glad God gave me the burden and not her. I'm glad I took it, and so in turn it helped my mom and dad do things differently with her, and me as an older brother, understand her more as well to help her out. And so I'm glad, I took it. God gave it to me rather, and it stopped with me to help her, because I love her dearly. I would never want her to go through that. And she's a hell of a lot more outgoing than I was at that age, for sure. And she's so much more freer than I was at that age, more expressive, just not shy at all. Doesn't care really what anybody thinks. Just very confident attitude, which I'm glad. And um, she's helped me in a lot of ways. And so, but again, if God didn't give me that task, and I'm very honored God gave me that, and it stopped with me. He knew I could handle it. And yeah, there's a lot of things I don't understand, or now say understand. There's a lot of things. That's not what I meant to say. There's a lot of things I don't have yet in my life that I really desire, that I cannot wait for. Like, I'm kind of like the point in my life now where it's like some people go through things or have things, and they're kind of like get over it for a while. But for me, when you never had something or some things in your life because you've been waiting for so long, you've been going through so much for so long, you're just kind of like, man, I cannot wait for this to happen. Like, you're just ready. And there's a lot of things in my life, like I mentioned in my last episode, that I know once they happen in my life, will, when God brings them, finally allows them or brings them in my life, and there's a reason He made me wait. And so, and I can only imagine just how much of a blessing it's going to be for my life, and just how much it's going to help me grow and evolve and just elevate even more. And hopefully, like for instance, one day when I get married or and just even start with a relationship, I hope to be a bless. I want God's been transforming me, to be a blessing for that person as well, and ultimately with Him in the center of it, and to be a glorification for Him to advance His kingdom. How can we advance the kingdom of God? And and I truly believe a lot of what I went through is still. I haven't seen a lot of what the purpose was yet. I've seen some of the purpose, like I just mentioned, like my sister, what I do with this podcast. But who knows? I think a lot of that purpose also could be for my future wife, or girlfriend to wife. It could be for a future person I meet down the road, any relationship, a friend. It could be, which I've already seen that. I helped a lot of people in my family because it stopped with me. But also it could be for a different purpose down the road that I don't even know yet. I haven't got to yet. He hasn't brought me to yet. And so it's really important to understand that, and to understand what your purpose really is, and to understand that, like what he went through, what change happened. He drove his car in traffic for a whole year. He didn't know what to do with himself. But over time, he started to figure out, like, okay, I know basketball. I can coach. I can do a podcast, tell a story, which is what he does now. He has his own show now. Gilbert started to find his purpose again and what he wanted to do with his life. And so, but again, it's very normal to have that initially, because I went through it. He went through it. Our circumstances are obviously a little different, but it's very similar. It's very similar. If I can talk, it was very similar for us in a lot of ways mentally. And you really have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what I want to do with my life. And I went through this recently, guys, because when I kind of hit a little funk at the end of winter, and I said, okay, and I mentioned that in my last episode. I'll link that after this. Go watch that. Explain a lot more what happened. And when I went into the inner circle program, I had to really just kind of restart a little bit and just kind of just let go of something. I kind of let myself go a lot too, in a way. It's like, like he said, he let his body go. I could agree with that too. I for a couple of months, I'm not gonna lie, when I was going through all that, I kind of had to, I had to balance my time out, and I had to balance out what was most important at that time. So I wasn't as doing much of my workout routine as I was doing. So I kind of let myself go a little bit for a couple months, and but I accepted it, and I knew it was okay, and I said, but I had confidence that once I get myself right, I'll get back to a better routine. And that's what I did. And when I got to the end of May, I got back to my full routine again for a whole month. The whole month of June, I went just full blown back to my workout routine. Boom, 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 and and dropped a lot of that weight, and dropped almost 20 pounds really in a month. And so, feeling good there. But again, it's better work with your mind first. Work with your mind and spiritually first, and everything else will take care of itself. Emotionally, physically. I'm attesting to that firsthand. And so, but again, it's finding your purpose, finding yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, or finding yourself. Excuse me, I'm talking too fast. Finding yourself spiritually and mentally will help you find yourself more physically and emotionally. It's just like a chain reaction, but it's finding that purpose for your life. And then once you find that purpose, you start to tap into it more. You start to find those root causes, and you start to link everything together, like I did, just by with talking to a therapist, and doing the inner circle program, and finding more of those layers like I broke down earlier, how meditations helped me do that. The more I started to put everything together, and the more I started to grow more as a human being, and just to grow my faith more with God, and understanding that, like I said just a couple minutes ago, his purpose and timing for everything is perfect. And so just trust him. Just because other people around you guys are doing things or have things, or a lot of what we see nowadays is a lot of fraudulent stuff. If we're really being honest, a lot of just people pressured, a lot of people, um, it's the go along, get along game. It's like I said in my Instagram post the other day, satisfy your soul, not the society. So, like for me, for instance, right now, in my reconditioning part I'm in, just where I'm at post anxiety, it's doing the things finally that I truly wanted to do, that satisfies my soul, and what God wants to do, Him speaking through me, because the Lord satisfies all your needs, and He, supplies all your needs, and He's really satisfies what your soul desires. And so there's a lot of things I put off for a while in my life just because I was what I was going through. And so I'm at a point now I'm looking forward to finally pursuing those things and obtaining those things, and also doing the things that I've always desired to do, that my soul desires to do, what makes me happy, what brings joy to me. And so, and just settling in even more, being more grounded, having more community, more communication in my life. That's what I plan on doing them for myself now. And so, it's funny though, a lot of what Gilbert said kind of goes back to what I shared from the Tony Evans book a couple podcasts ago. It's right here. And it's funny, when I was listening to that again, it made me think of this, because I think a lot of what we saw post COVID, we were all locked in our houses. It's very similar to what Gilbert just said. We didn't know what to do with ourselves, which again, it's like I said, it's very important to suffer deliberately and to help yourself now, so you set yourself up with more peace, inner peace, the rest of your life. But it's like this. This is from the Tony Evans book, Hope for the Hurting. And it says, do you know what the big idol in American culture is today? The badge of being busy. We use distractions in order to numb ourselves from the pain and emptiness we feel. This is one of the reasons that the rate of depression, anxiety, alcohol abuse, and pornography use skyrocketed during the onset height of the 2020 pandemic lockdown. When people lost their opportunities to be busy, life's pain had to be faced head on. That proved to be too much for many of us. And so, powerful stuff there. I need some water. And a lot of that goes to what Gilbert said. If you really think about it, and what I went through. When you don't know what to do with yourself, and obviously that situation there, the lot we didn't, that was obviously something we'd never seen before, and it was out of our control. Everybody had to go through it, but that's why you see so many problems nowadays, even 3 years later, and just why you've seen a change and shift in the culture in a negative way. Because when you had to lock people down in their houses like that, they didn't know what to do with themselves. They were bored, but they also, you had to start to think about a lot of things that were stored away within you. Those emotions start to come back up again. Those feelings that were, you couldn't distract yourself anymore. You couldn't live in a life anymore. You distract yourself. And I wonder too, like what Gilbert was talking about, when you take that distraction away, that the life you live for so long, you get kind of scared because you start thinking about things you haven't thought about in a while. And so, again, it's better to suffer deliberately rather than to, wait. Don't wait for don't wait for something to happen again. Like, just help yourself now. What you got to ask yourself, what's holding you back from helping yourself? What are you scared of? A lot of people are so scared nowadays to help themselves. Like, it's like, why? Because I think a lot of people are afraid they don't know who they are. They're gonna be afraid they'll lose an identity. But the life you're really living right now, if you're living in that kind of life I was, like Gilbert, or like not Gilbert, what Tony Evans was talking about there, what I was going through, you're not living your full purpose. What kind of life are you living? You don't know. You may not know what your true purpose is because you never allowed yourself, because you're afraid to let go of things. You never allowed yourself to just surrender and just let go to God, or just find yourself who you are. Even if you don't believe in God, find who you really are, what you desire to do. Who do you want to be? Are you trying to satisfy the society, or are you trying to satisfy your soul? So you got to ask yourself. And so that's my show for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I'll link everything below. The disclaimer out there, the VladTV interview with Gilbert, that's fair use content for educational purposes. I didn't play the video, I played the audio, so fair use on that for educational purposes, YouTube. Okay, thank you. But anyways, if you guys like this today, make sure you hit the like button for me, share this content. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button for me. And love all you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And leave a comment below if this stood out to you, anything in this video today. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. I could salute to you guys now. My last video, my camera froze. So I was sitting here like this, saluted to you guys off camera. But yeah, so now you guys can see me. I can salute to you off. And so love all you guys. Like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. Gone.